Ever get the feeling that, like, we're all just works in progress, trying to, code ourselves for a better version of life?
Yeah.
Well, today's deep dive, it takes us right to the heart of that idea.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring this website, Age of Mentality, alongside a BBC article, get this, on the roots of morality.
Interesting.
Plus, we've got some classic Temptations lyrics thrown in there for good measure.
Okay.
Get ready for, well, I'll just say some unexpected connections as we unpack what it means to, shape our own destinies.
What strikes me right off the bat is how Age of Mentality, it really sets the stage. It practically vibrates with this idea of innate potential of us humans being packed with God-given blessings.
Right.
But then we kind of switch gears to the BBC article, and suddenly we're looking at humanity through this lens of Thomas Hobbes, who saw us as naturally, nasty and brutish, right? Needing rules just to keep from tearing each other apart.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast.
It really is. It's like these sources are reading from two totally different instruction manuals.
Yeah.
And that takes us straight to that age-old debate. Nature versus nurture. Are we born with a moral compass, some kind of inner code of right and wrong?
Right.
Or is it all learned, shaped by, our experiences in the world around us?
It's a question that has captivated thinkers for centuries, and frankly, it's one we still haven't cracked. But think about the implications for a second. How we raise our kids, how societies function, even how we understand, the very essence of what makes us human. It all hinges on this idea of where our morality comes from.
And speaking of kids, the BBC article throws in this fascinating curveball.
Okay.
It highlights studies where babies, and we're talking 7 months old, barely crawling, were shown puppet shows
Okay.
with characters acting either helpfully or harmfully.
Interesting.
Can you guess what happened?
I'm going to guess they gravitated towards the helpful character.
You got it. Overwhelmingly, even at that age, these infants consistently show a preference for the nice guys, the helpers.
Wow.
Now, it doesn't mean babies are born reading philosophy or anything,
Right.
but it suggests that we might just come preloaded with some sense of fairness.
Interesting.
It hints at something, deeper than just learned behavior.
It does.
Yeah, it's like we arrive with this basic operating system.
Right.
But then life throws all these updates and downloads at us.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this whole idea of programming that keeps popping up.
Right.
So Age of Mentality talks about utilizing specific techniques to achieve success. Almost like rewiring your mindset,
Yeah.
And then we have the glitch-free program with its bold claim about humans being programmed to know good from evil at birth. Both tapping into this idea that our minds are malleable, systems capable of being coded, for better or for worse.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, have you ever felt programmed by external forces?
Oh, absolutely.
The expectations of society, the way you were raised, even just the endless stream of information we're bombarded with constantly.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's like catching your reflection doing something, and you're like, wait, is that really me?
Right.
Or is that just my programming running in the background?
Exactly.
A bit unsettling.
It is. The glitch-free program doesn't shy away from the more, let's say, unsettling aspects of this whole thing. Dives headfirst into the world of mind control and subliminal messaging.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They even link to an early website dedicated to subliminal programming. Talk about a rabbit hole.
Wow. But here's where the plot thickens, right?
Okay.
Because Age of Mentality, while championing our potential, also warns against the dangers of, and I'm quoting here, lies, deceit, and corruption. It's almost as if they're acknowledging this double-edged sword of programming, right?
Yeah.
On the one hand, this possibility of unlocking our potential,
Yeah.
but on the other, this very real threat of manipulation.
Which is why critical thinking becomes our most vital tool, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
How do we tell the difference between genuine self-improvement and someone else pulling the strings? How do we make sure we're the ones writing the code of our own lives? And that, my friend, is a question that's more relevant now than ever before.
We've been, really digging into this idea of programming, but what about those times when it feels like our emotions are the ones calling the shots? Take, the intoxicating power of love, for example.
Okay.
Remember those Temptations lyrics you sent over?
I do, yeah.
The ones about love growing stronger every day? There's something almost unnerving about how that song what is it called? It's
Graphic.
Yeah, how it captures that intensity that grip love can have.
It's interesting you bring that up because those lyrics, they actually say, nobody knows where this love will stop.
Oh, that's right.
It really makes you think about those moments when emotions, they seem to have a life of their own. How much agency do we really have when we're, swept up in something that powerful?
Exactly. It's like how much of me is really in control when my brain is like flooded with those love-drunk chemicals.
Right.
Could something, I don't know, as primal and as powerful as romantic love, could that be seen as a form of programming itself?
That's a really fascinating connection because from a purely biological perspective, we know that emotions do exert a powerful influence on our thoughts and actions.
Right.
I mean, we know that certain chemicals and neural pathways are activated when we experience intense emotions, whether it's love, joy, fear, anything in between, really.
So it's like our brains are capable of programming us, in a way, through these emotional experiences, almost like they're hijacking the system for a while.
Precisely. And that circles back so well to the themes we were uncovering in Age of Mentality, this idea that we have this incredible capacity for growth, for resilience, for tapping into something, bigger than ourselves, but also...
And also that ever-present potential for being misled.
Yeah.
For falling prey to those lies and deceit, as the website puts it.
Exactly. It's like we're constantly navigating this delicate dance between our own inner compass and all these external forces, societal expectations, subliminal messages, even our own emotions, all vying for control.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes it's really hard to tell which voice is truly our own.
It's almost as if our minds are a stage. And throughout our lives, different actors, our upbringing, our experiences, even our own darn emotions, they take turns playing the leading role, shaping our perceptions, influencing our choices.
And discerning which actor is playing the role most authentically to you, that's the lifelong challenge, isn't it?
Really is.
Figuring out what truly resonates with our core values, what's worth fighting for, and what we need to guard against with, fierce determination.
So we've journeyed from the nature of morality all the way to the power of love.
Right.
And, we've looked at it all through this lens of mental programming.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
It really makes you think about the whole idea of control, how much agency do we actually have over our own thoughts, our beliefs, even our destinies? It's a question that people have been grappling with for centuries in philosophy.
It really is. Especially when we consider the contrasting ideas we've been talking about, Age of Mentality, this idea that we can master these mental techniques to shape our own realities.
Right.
But then the glitch-free program, pulls back the curtain on things like subliminal messaging, these forces that could be influencing us without us even knowing it.
Yeah.
It's enough to make you wonder, are we really in the driver's seat?
It really is.
Or are we just along for the ride?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
But even if we acknowledge, the possibility of those outside forces, the societal pressures, market, even our own subconscious biases, we still have to make choices, right?
We do.
We decide what we believe, what we value. Ultimately, how we live our lives, that's still in our hands.
It's like we've each been handed this incredibly complex piece of software.
Yeah.
Our minds, right?
Right.
And it comes, preloaded with certain programs and biases and all of that.
Sure.
But we also have the ability to customize.
Right.
To download new apps, delete old ones, maybe even, rewrite some of the code if we're feeling ambitious.
I like that.
It's a powerful image.
It is. What would that program look like for you?
Yeah.
If you could consciously program yourself for a more fulfilling life.
Totally.
What habits would you install?
Oh, I like that.
What limiting beliefs would you finally delete?
What would your own personal Age of Mentality look like? It's a question worth thinking about.
It is.
And, if this deep dive has sparked some new insights for you, some questions, we want to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Head over to the Deep Dive website, find us on social media.
Yeah, come on, let's keep this conversation going.
Let's do it. The most fascinating journeys are the ones that we share.
I completely agree.